loads coming up over the next couple of hours, and that's not all. We'll have even more as we progress throughout the programme. And joining me for it, as always, is none other than Aaron Cusack in the Breakfast Studio hot seat. Good morning.
Good morning, Aaron. How are you?
I'm good. Penultimate one.
Yes, been a long season for us,
Hasn't it? Because this is first season of Argyle Breakfast.
Yeah.
We've had...
I'm already on the beach,
as
they say.
Mentally,
we're mid-table.
Yeah. It's probably not the season many had hoped for, but nonetheless, it has been an exciting journey along the way. It's been great fun getting to do this. One more week to go after this, so as long as we don't mess today and next week up, I think we'll be all right.
Well, we'll see, won't we? We'll have to see. I mean, it's been an emotional season, isn't it, with the team up and down, and they've been languishing towards the bottom end over the last 4 or 5 months in particular. But I mean, they've still got something to hold on to in that if they can try to secure 2 wins in the remaining 2 fixtures, that might be enough to stay up.
I mean, of course, following the football itself is the primary focus of any Argyle fan, but I think what's been nice in and around maybe what hasn't been the best of seasons is actually being able to have a look at all the other work that's been going on around Argyle and beyond, and the guests that we've had on the studio over the last 9 months as well, learning more about all the different people and businesses and entrepreneurs in Plymouth and what everyone's getting up to. I mean, just this weekend we've got a couple of marathon runners, haven't we, that we've had in the studio before, so we'll have to catch up with what they're doing. David Weatherall, of course, had in the studio a while back. He's running the London Marathon tomorrow, so we've got through quite a lot really outside of the football.
Absolutely, it's certainly enhanced my awareness of people that support and follow Argyle. The successes they have in their own lives. We've had Olympians, we've had people who are successful in business, doing some great charity work. They've all come out of the woodwork, so to speak. But it's a great opportunity to share with the viewers what people do alongside supporting the Green Army.
Let's now take another moment to see what else we've got coming up for you on the breakfast show this morning. Yesterday was Football Shirt Friday, and so obviously the Argyle Fives team got together to discuss some of their favourite shirts from Argyle's long history. We'll be joined in the studio by a mental health champion who's using football to get the message out there. Tyler Eastham from the Clean Sheet Forum will be with us very shortly, and former Argyle, Cardiff and Wolves forward Joe Mason drops by to have a look back through his incredibly successful career.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Argyle Fives, brought to you by Argyle TV and the Argyle podcast. This time around we are talking about kits. Now, kits for many are one of the biggest things around. The anticipation around a new kit being released at the start of the season and the memories in which they evoke when you see them in the wardrobe or up on a shelf. Collector's dream, a supporter's dream. And we are going to try and discuss between us our favourite 5 shirts throughout Argyle history. And as always, joined by the other 2 musketeers, Kevin Natscaville and Rob McNichol, who will help us go back through the years and decide on the greatest kits that Plymouth Argyle have ever had, in our opinion. So, before we get stuck into it, Nance and Rob, we'll start with you, Nance. Kits, are you a big kit man? Were you always anticipating that release at the start of a season?
100%. I'm a huge kit man. I used to collect them. I still grab kits as much as I can. Argyle kits, obviously. And I think for me, it's just a sense of belonging. It's everything. The colour of your team, the badge on your chest. It just means everything, doesn't it? And I think wherever you are in the country or the world, you notice Argyle fans normally by their kit. Someone will have a shirt on somewhere. So the kit is imperative to a football club for me. And I'm passionate about it. And I hope I don't bore you talking about kits because they are so important to this football club.
That's the point.
We're unique in our colour and our kit makes us unique.
Do either of you know what the very first Plymouth Argyle kit was like?
I'm worried this is one of those moments where you drop on us that it's
Was it
it's not green or something. But I think it was green and black, wasn't it?
Was it not green and black halves?
Oh, so I would have said.
Green and black, or black and green, but it was definitely green and black halves.
Yeah.
Am I right?
So. You're both spot on. Green and black half straight down the middle. Different opposite coloured collars. Yeah. So the black half had a green sided collar.
Okay, I didn't know that.
The green half had a black sided collar. Absolutely gigantic pantaloon style shorts.
+4s.
Yeah. Let's just say the first kit that you either remember as a fan or owned, maybe. Yeah. Should we do that? And get that out there. It doesn't necessarily have to be your banker, but can you remember yours?
Yeah, well, the first kit I actually owned was the Beacon Electrical 83, 84 pinstripe, black collar, black shorts, white socks. I've still got it. I should have brought it in. It doesn't fit me as well as it used to. But
Crop top version.
What a kit! And it was the FA Cup kit, but it was stylish and the colours were fantastic. So that sticks in my head vividly. But the first kit I really remember would have been an all-white one. So we go back to the first kit we played in all white, and 76 to 79 we played in all white, green and black stripes down the sleeves, little pin there, and it was a PAFC was the logo, not the actual Mayflower ship. White shorts, white socks, all white.
We've been joined in the studio by someone who just a couple of years ago was voted the most inspirational person in Plymouth. Now that is a pretty good accolade to have. Tyler Eastham set up the clean sheet and is a mental health champion. He's a big football fan too, which is always nice to have here on The Breakfast Show, and uses sport to try and ease people into the topic of mental health on a bigger profile. Tyler, good morning. Nice to have you in the studio.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in. I can see you're repping the clean sheet there on your hoodie. Tell us I like it. Tell us a little bit about, the clean, for people that don't know, what is Clean Sheet all about?
Yeah, it was just after COVID 5 years ago, and prior to COVID happening, a lot of us as friends lost somebody who was very close to us growing up, big childhood friend, and I just felt something needed to be done. I've seen the statuses on Facebook of people being alone and through COVID, and I thought, what can be done? It just started off with a Facebook group, and I said, just getting it out there, the message out there, it's okay not to be okay, the standardised stuff, and I thought, no, something needs more to be done, and it just started off with talking, and then going into schools and speaking to young children. But then the more I've done it for the past 5 years, coming up to 5 years now, I've actually re-looked back at my childhood and realised there was stuff there, and I did struggle, but I didn't speak about it because stuff wasn't in place. So now I then help schools when I go in there and speak to teachers and stuff they can put in place, which I felt it wasn't there, but there is starting to come into play now. And it's brilliant when you go in to speak to, say, the Argyle under-18s and stuff like that, and they've been asked to come in again. This
is you there, I guess, talking to some of the younger people in our community. So, when you're going out to schools or groups like this, are you telling young people how important it is to just be open about their feelings? Is that what you're trying to break down?
First and foremost as well, it's nice talking to them about to be kind to each other as well, because you don't understand what words have the impact on somebody. They might just brush it off, but inside they're screaming it out. They want to say something, but they can't because of the backlash in which they'll get. So especially with the Argyle under-18s, talking to them saying, have you got a backup plan? Because unfortunately you might not make it.
Sure.
And that's one of the big things in football at the minute. If you look at the Premier League clubs, the suicide rates, for example, the young children, footballers not making it. And it's just being there, especially in our city, just not being somebody, but just being an organisation that can be there to help.
Well, particularly in football, you've mentioned that before, Aaron, haven't you, about the pressure that's on younger people wanting to break through into football and making sure that you are mentally resilient should things not go your way.
Yeah, absolutely, because even if players do make it, there's no guarantee that the careers don't last forever. So they do need a backup plan, and whilst all aspiring young players want to become a Premier League player, the percentage is so minuscule, it's highly unlikely. So players who are playing in League 2 for example, probably haven't got enough money when they retire to live off.
Yeah.
So they need to have a backup plan. And, you know, do you think your experiences of the 5 years that you've been covering this, do you think social media is having a massive inhibitor?
100%.
And maybe a promotion of awareness as well?
How can we get it out there? So it's non-profit, so we raise any money. It goes out on awareness material, so posters, banners, signs on businesses, like Easy Car Taxis, the Plymouth local taxi firm has our cards in their taxi. People don't realise the conversation that people open up to a taxi driver.
Yeah, sure.
So it's little things like that, and it's just how we can get out there. And the 24-hour hotline, which is my personal mobile phone, so if anyone's struggling, then that comes through to me, and I have left the house at, say, 2 o'clock in the morning and stuff like that, and spoken to people in person. It's just, I felt something more to be done, and just, I'm not running with the flag, but I'm just trying to fly the flag to get more people to open, you know, be honest and say, I need help.
Yeah. I mean, you've called it a clean sheet. There's obviously football connotations with that, but you know, what does it mean to you? Is there another kind of meaning underneath that of what it represents?
So it was a pun. It was a play on words because at the time I still try and play locally. I was a goalkeeper with a clean sheet. I can never keep one. All right, but it's a clean sheet, so it was that aspect of the logo's changed. So it used to be a goalkeeper in the goal trying to keep all the balls out. But it's more the fact of if you ring or you message, it's 100% confidential, and it's a clean sheet. So when you speak to us, you're not going to be judged. I've had people that I went to school with, but it's 100% confidential. I'm never going to share any information that you provided to me unless you come a risk to yourself or a risk to others.
With men in particular, are you finding that this is a service that you're trying to reach more men to talk about mental health, or more men are, you know, getting in touch with you, you know, that feel they're now ready to open up? Is that a particular area that you're looking at, or do you find it's across the board?
No, because I do the colleges, but say 3 years ago I was a carpenter on a building site, but they took me off the site and put me into a wellbeing role. Just what I've been doing, so I now go to construction sites and talk to construction, which is male orientated, but there's more females coming through in the game. But then when I stand there and talk to somebody or talk to a group of men, they do say, I never realised I was struggling, but you being here talking about your story today has given me the chance to open up and talk to you. People don't realise until they hear so much of the story, actually, I will get help, because there is help out there.
Thank you so much for taking the time to come in this morning. Super interesting to hear about Clean Sheet and all the great work that you're doing. And I hope that if anybody has been watching this morning that feels like they might need a little bit of help from Tyler, you now know where to go. Clean Sheet on Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, all the social medias. You're there. Thank you so much, Tyler. It's all change in the studio. We have just swapped out Tyler Easton for our next guests, and I'm joined by two members of Plymouth Gladiators Speedway team. Team captain Ben Barker and owner Mark Phillips are here to talk about their new season, which got underway just last week. Thank you both for being with us this morning. It's quite an exciting changeover, really, from an Argyle perspective. Of course, our season is just about to finish, whereas yours is just about to start. Ben, I'm going to start with you as the team captain first. Speedway, I have a very limited knowledge of, so can you just run me through kind of the beginner's guide to all things Speedway?
4 riders, 4 laps in under 60 seconds, 0 to 60 in just over 2 seconds with no brakes.
I mean, as pictures go, you've certainly captivated my attention. It seems like quite, you're not getting nervous?
Well, of course you get nervous. Nerves come with excitement, don't they? So, but, you know, being an adrenaline junkie myself, I thrive off it.
How did you get into it then?
I've been racing motorbikes since I was 5 years old, 6 years old, so a few years now.
Yeah.
And then I kind of went from a different discipline called grass track, and then ventured to speedway and never looked back since.
Oh my goodness! And Mark, you're behind this whole operation, I guess. How does one acquire a speedway team?
Yeah, it's lucky, I guess. I used to race years ago, and they restarted then at St Austell back in '97. So I rode for them in '97. I think I was 32, I think then.
Is that when you got into it?
No, I left the sport at the age of 20.
Okay.
Through financial matters, really, I suppose. So I got back into it in '97. And then 2001, I actually took over the stadium at St Austell. That eventually closed at the end of 2003. We only had, 2004. We had 3 seasons there. The clay industry had increased. They just sold to a French company, and they needed the quarry that we was based in.
Oh, right.
So it finished at Trelawney, and the opportunity came at Plymouth. So I took Plymouth on at 2017, and we've gone from there.
And how has it been going?
It's progressing every year. The stadium gets improvements every winter. This year we've moved the grandstands and made the track wider, just to create even better racing.
Also got a new sponsors lounge, haven't we?
Yeah, it's all
really good.
It's all going progressively well.
Is it fair to call it a more niche sport in the grand scheme of things? Because I suppose, you've got your footballs, your rugbies, your things like that.
It just doesn't get the marketing it really deserves for how exciting it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're there for a couple of hours of an evening. The excitement in that couple of hours, it's really breathtaking at times. It just needs to be kind of pushed out there a little bit more to get the awareness. I mean, I know a lot of people in Plymouth don't even know it's there. And having such an exciting sport on your doorstep and not know it's there is kind of criminal in one way of saying.
Yeah, because you're down at it's Marsh Mills,
Marsh
isn't
Mills,
it? Which
yeah.
is where is it the Coliseum?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Is it an arena? Is that what's the terminology?
That's what we call it, but it's just like a little mini stadium. We've got a nice little grandstand and things. But no, like Mark says, that if you look at where the stadium was 10 years ago before Mark took it over to where it is now, it's a really, really big improvement.
I mean, you must have a lot of passion for, speedway to want to keep pushing it to be the best that it can be.
Yeah, sure. I mean, back in the 30s and 40s, speedway was the next best sport from football. In football, now it's speedway has stood still, whereas the other sports have progressed and got into the public's attention. So speedway's gone sideways, for want of a better word. For me, it's a case of I can come along with the football side. It's like a goal is being scored every 3 minutes.
Okay.
Every race there's a goal scored to get the targets up. So the
Argyle
excitement
fans
is there.
Probably relish something like
Yeah,
that.
the excitement is there.
We would love a few goals.
Yeah.
The point system is different, but it is the same as banging a goal in every 3 minutes.
Okay. I mean, we've got some footage here. So this is. I mean, just talk me through, like, what we're seeing here on the screen.
That's me just making a pass there on the outside. This was last week against Oxford.
So there's two riders from each side on the track at the same time. So it's a case of
the home side races in red and blue.
And on the helmets, if you see, they've got helmet colours.
Yeah.
It is exciting to watch, especially when you get you come to the crunch at the end of the meeting. You normally have the 4 best guys in heats 13 and 15, and sometimes you can throw a blanket over all 4 of us. It's pretty tight.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of speeds are we talking here when we're looking at this?
I don't really know. I mean, I don't think we've ever had it.
Yeah, we have.
There we go.
Yeah, we did have. We're getting around 55 miles an hour down the straight.
Wow.
That's with no brakes.
Yeah. And there's just the brakes.
They
don't
don't
exist.
No, they're not on them. There's no brakes.
We may be almost done with Argyle breakfast this morning, but we do still have one more guest to bring you. I'm pleased to say we are joined by Joe Mason in the studio. Joe, Plymouth lad, came through the ranks here at Plymouth Argyle in the 2010s, went on to move to Cardiff, played in the Premier League and scored at Wembley in the final against Liverpool. So all going on in your career.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back to Home Park, a quiet Home Park, of course, because there's no match here today.
Yeah,
but,
no, it's great to be back. It's changed quite a lot since our days here, but no, it's nice to see.
Fond memories of your time at the club?
Yeah, it was difficult circumstances at the time. We were in obviously administration and bits like that, but for me as a local lad, it was it was perfect coming through. I got my opportunity.
Did it make it a little bit more convenient, I suppose, if you're, you know, from this area and you're actually able to go all the way through the ranks and then play for the team itself before moving on?
Yeah, I mean, it was difficult to leave. That makes it even more difficult to leave as well, I think. But yeah, it was convenient. I lived 2 minutes up the road in Peveril, so it was convenient in that sense, but it made it even harder to leave.
Yeah, but I mean, you go on to Cardiff, get into the Premier League. I mean, what's that? I mean, we were talking earlier about, you know, young aspiring footballers, and the dream, of course, is always to get into the Premier League, and you were fortunate enough to be one of the ones that actually made it. What was that like?
Yeah, it's funny, like, when you sort of say it back now, it's hard to believe that I managed to do it, but yeah, just a dream come true, coming through a place like Argyle and then going up to the Premier League is just something that we all aspire to do.
So a question for me then, so let's stay in the Premier League. Who were the players, it's easy to say, I look forward to playing against all of them, but were there particular players you played against in the Premier League where you didn't realise how good they were until you actually played against them?
Yeah, I mean, it looks quite obvious when I say it now, but Suarez.
Yeah.
He was, when you see him, he's quite short and stocky, but he's always like, he's down at your ankles all the time. He's always trying to nutmeg you. I don't know if you've noticed it, but he was the one who really stood out. His hunger for the game as well was incredible.
Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, literally in some cases.
Yeah. He's a fun, yeah.
You know, but I mean, because we've spoken to Mark Edworthy a number of times, you know, we've asked him about his Premier League experiences, and he said people like Attilio Lombardo, you know, Attilio Lombardo, he said you don't realise how good he was until you played with it, how quick he was, and you know, sometimes when you play against someone in the flesh or with someone, because he played with him, I think, at Palace, you don't realise how good they were until you actually have that experience.
Yeah, I had a few experiences like that with some random sort of names. I don't know if you remember Gary Medel, who sort of went on to play for, I think it was Inter, and was captain of Chile. Peter Whittingham, unfortunately passed away. He was incredible player, being my top three probably.
Wow. So it's little things like that, because we hear the household names. You know, and they're all world-class players, but it's the players that you perhaps went under the radar, and then you have experience saying they were great at this, you didn't realise how good they were at that. You know, it just goes to show how good everyone is at that level, obviously. Talk us through your journey through the academy, because there'll be people watching this who've got children in the academy and things like that. And you know, what age were you when you first joined, and what was your experiences like?
Yeah, I joined. So I had two older brothers in the system at the time. I joined at 11. It was when we'd go to Ivory Bridge on a Tuesday and Thursday evening, and it was the centre of excellence. It wasn't an academy back then, so you got up to 15, and then they decided whether you were going to get a scholarship or not, and thankfully I did, and then that gives you 2 more years to try and get your professional contract.
And like because now in the modern era, it's getting younger and younger. You know, they're like 6 years old. There's pre-academy, and there seems to be this race to the bottom that if you're not picked up by the age of 10, that's it. You know, and you know, someone like yourself, Randall's the same. He didn't come in until under 11, 12, and you coming in, that would be considered relatively later in the modern times. You know, you're an old 11-year-old coming in. You know, so you know, have you got any advice for the younger people out there who, you know, parents will look at this and go, well, what if my son in particular, you know, daughters as well with the female route, but aren't picked up until 11 and 12?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be too worried about that. Not at all. I was quite a slow burner. Everyone was sort of getting pushed up in age group, and I got kept back. And as it sort of progressed, I was the one that went on to play first team football. I was I'm quite small and quite slight, but I wouldn't be too worried about not getting picked up at such a young age. Like I said, at 6 and 7, I think it's going a little bit too far now. They need to really enjoy their football at that age.
I agree with you. You know, there seems to be this kind of explosion of, you know, pathways and labels and academies and whatnot, and I just think, chill, go and do other stuff, get that kind of platform in place. And you're an example of someone who came. You were still playing football, and it helped having 2 older brothers, no doubt. You know, but at least you were someone who didn't come in at 7 years old. You know, you were 4 years later, a lot older.
A whole 4 years later.
Yeah, it does make it. I'm not sure if it was possible to come in at 7 years old back then. I'm not sure.
No, they've got these pre-academies now, so I think it's still under 9s, but it just seems to be the modern thing is so much more on social media. That it's nice to hear stories of players who have gone on and made it, who came in a little bit later in their youth, so to speak.
And I think social media is a big thing as well with that.
So if we go back to your time breaking through into the first team, you said about you were given an opportunity because you were here when doing the administration periods.
Yeah.
So at what point, I'm always curious to ask players this, at what point did you ever think, and you can be boastful of this, you go, I'm at this level and I know I can play higher?
I wouldn't say in that first year in the championship, because we had some really good players in that year. I felt like I deserved an opportunity. It wasn't until the year after when we got relegated into League One where I felt it's difficult because I'm from here. I love the club, but you'd come into training, there'd be one player gone every day, because we weren't getting paid. And that's when I thought, I think I could probably step up and move on now.
Okay. All right, so the circumstance provided you, with that opportunity. What was great is that you were patient, but then, you were fully confident that as soon as your opportunity was given to you, you knew you'd be able to go up and demonstrate your capabilities.
Yeah, definitely. The coaching here at the time when I was coming through was brilliant. Yeah. We had Mike Pedgick. He was great for us. You know Pedgick, and Gordon Bennett as well was a character. Yeah. And they really put us in good stead going through, and then giving us the confidence to go into the first team environment and really express ourselves.
Really good, and in particular, we go back to Pedge, people, if you didn't know him, his depth of knowledge of player development was impressive. Was it? I know he's a bit of an acquired taste, as a person, but his footballing acumen was up there with the best I've known anyway.
Yeah, I think he did a lot of the coaching for the FA.
Yeah, he did.
So we'd do a lot of the boys who want to get their badges would have to go through. So he knew the game inside out. Like you said, his practices were different, but looking back, it probably wouldn't be allowed now. But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, good.
But have you got any moments that do stand out from your career that you're like, oh my god, that was a real moment for me?
I scored my first goal for Argyle. I remember at Sheffield United away. That was a crazy game in itself, but that one really stands out because obviously I'm from here. I still support Argyle. Watch every game, but that was the big one, and then the promotion, I'd say, with Cardiff was another big one.
And then you moved to Canada as well, of course. I mean, what's it like playing football in a completely different country?
Completely different environment. Football's not really massive out there. They're like an ice hockey sort of country, but it's more of like a family day out, really, where you don't get the abuse and stuff, which is quite nice.
Oh, that is quite nice.
But the standard of football's not quite there. But the experience of living out there, I've really enjoyed it.
So what was the lure out there then? Was it just a new chapter for you? Did you want to go and try a different
I was coming towards... the injuries were starting to creep in when I was at MK, and I thought I might not get enough. I always wanted to play abroad. I had a little spell in America when I was at Colorado, but I thought I'd go and try it again properly, and it was more of a life experience, to be honest.
Wow. And who was it you played for out there?
Cavalry, which is in Calgary.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the life experience, going to live in another country.
Yeah, it was beautiful out there.
And you were there for 2 years?
3. 3 years,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, to have a job that actually just enables you to do that and, sets you
up. Well, footballers, they train for 2 hours, is that right? And they've got the rest of the day to go in the mountains and that.
Go and enjoy Canada. You're back in Plymouth now then. Yeah. What is the future looking like for you?
I do have a business here. It's a property business, but that keeps me busy day to day. I do miss the football side of it, I can't lie. I'm maybe looking into doing a bit of scouting and things like that. I recently did a course with the PFA, which helps me sort of give me a pathway towards that.
That's interesting. Not many people, like ex-pros, future ex-pros, talking about scouting. Yeah. It's more punditry or coaching. Like, you like the idea of going out and just, watching games and feeding back to a particular... I suppose you'd be affiliated to a potential club, unless you'd work independently.
You can do, but I think every team sort of has their own scouts, and I don't think I can see myself doing the coaching, to be honest. I don't think I really have the hunger for that or desire, but I really enjoy watching football, so I'd like to go down that route.
Yeah, why not?
Well, if you like watching football, you can come along and be a pundit.
I don't know if I'm good at that, but
you can be a scout. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll do the scouting.
You can go and scout pundits. Get your people in.
I see what you're doing there. That's like you said, it's an interesting route. But then I suppose when you have had a football career, you know, the bits of knowledge that you have around the game can be applied in various different areas. And like you said, coaching not for you, but perfectly suits other people. But then like scouting is actually a really interesting avenue to go down, because you're going to know what to look for from having been there yourself, and also played against some of the names that you mentioned. You know what they were capable of, so you're like, okay, this person looks like they might be capable of that in the future.
And like you said, it's getting younger and younger now, so you will have to sort of go younger and younger in terms of trying to find that player, because everyone's trying to find that next sort of big thing, aren't they? So it's something I'm really interested in, and that's the sort of route I'm looking to go down.
That's good.